they're still generating more of a buzz than your average hip hop artist. So what is fell off?
Yo. We are Levi's Wise.
Check out the full podcast. Link below.
Next topic. How would you evaluate someone falling off? Like, when should we consider someone falling off or even labeling them as someone who fell off? You know, I was on Twitter, or actually I was online, and then I came across the fact that Meek Mill put up basically a post on Twitter and was like, yo, keep it real with me, guys. Did I fall off? And he had to make sure to double back and say, listen, I'm not asking this for confidence. Like, I ain't down and bad. This is just a social experiment. Take that for whatever it's worth. The response that he got really got me thinking, because, you know what I'm saying, most of the responses were saying, Meek, you didn't fall off. Meek, you had your time. Like, you were the man for years. Like, yeah, you're not making the music that, like, hits anymore, but that don't mean you fell off. That just means, like, the peak height, the height of your career was what it was. Like, and that's fine. Some people don't even get to the peak. That ain't even called falling off. That's called, like, you never were on. There's a difference. There's certain people that when we have the discussion, you can argue, were they ever really even on? And a couple names come to mind, like, for example, Vic Mensa.
Jesus.
Vic Mensa never. I'm not trying to be this. I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. My point is this, though. Like, you know, I thought about that more, and I said, bro, like, I think the people who responded have a point. Bro, Meek was the guy for a while. He arguably has a top 10 hip hop record of all time with Dreams and Nightmares.
Yes, he does.
I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to grind like that, to shine like this. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? When I would've asked them all, y'all thought it was rented?
And every time you hear that song, it's going to mean something. And so you could argue around that time where he was heavily deep into, you know, his affiliation with MMG, right? When he got into a relationship with Nicki Minaj, he dropped before the beef with Drake. I think it was Dreams Worth More Than Money. I believe that was the project. I think it sold 250,000 copies first week. Bro, that's an elite artist, numbers wise. And at that point, when he was with Nicki Minaj, you could argue that man was at the height of his career. I wouldn't call him a 1A rapper, but he was probably 1B. When we ultimately saw his career start dwindling after he started beefing with Drake, hey, man, unfortunately, sometimes your career ends before you want it to. But I refuse to say Meek Mill fell off. And if I do say that, it's not because he was never on. There's a difference between somebody falling off before they were ever on and them being on for a long time and then their career just dwindling naturally. We use the same word to describe both of those cases, but they're not the same. And so that's why I'm curious. Like, in terms of Meek Mill, do you feel the same way?
So it depends on what Meek Mill's aim is.
Okay.
Moving forward. So notice how when people say somebody fell off, we're usually talking about the people, like you mentioned, that were 1A. The Drakes of the world, the Rick Rosses of the world, they were at the top of the mountain as artists. So when you say they fell off, they're still generating more of a buzz than your average hip hop artist. So what is fell off?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
even if Meek Mill fell off, right? If they claim Meek Mill fell off, he's still generating maybe like 10 million monthly views on Spotify, being a top artist, right?
More than likely.
I can compare his number. Look, even DaBaby. DaBaby's doing very well.
I'm gonna look right now.
DaBaby's doing very well statistically. Your typical person will say DaBaby fell off because he's not working with other artists probably as much. He's not as sought after for these shows. But if streaming is the measurement that you are counting, technically he did not fall off. So what measurement are you counting?
You see,
for fell off?
By the way, I just checked. Meek Mill has basically 15 million
right?
monthly listeners on Spotify,
yeah.
which is very actually impressive for
he doesn't
someone who allegedly fell off and
often.
Who's not even putting out new. His last album was in 2021, Expensive Pain, and the one before that, sports and rap and just music, very good, bro. The amount of comparisons is unbelievable. One of the things that I've always felt, and it applies to Michael Jordan and even Floyd Mayweather to some extent, is being undefeated is overrated. think about this. I'm not disrespecting Jordan or even or Mayweather to that extent. But if you really go throughout boxing history, there's people who have lost multiple times. Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, the list goes on. I'm talking about people who they consider some of the greatest fighters. They've lost multiple times. But yet, when they talk about Floyd Mayweather, the argument that they use the most is he's undefeated. And it reminds me of how people talk about Jordan when they say he's went to the finals. He went there 6 times and he never lost. Okay, I get it. It's an impressive thing to do. But should that be used as the end-all, be-all trump card when we start evaluating people? My answer is no.
Too many times, especially online, people take data and they use it to fit their argument. If you're actually using the data correctly in the situation of Jordan and LeBron, what you will do is you'll say, how many times did Jordan, quote unquote, finish in first place? Essentially meaning won a championship. 6 times. How many times did Jordan finish in second place? He won every time he went to the finals. Correct. And he didn't get to the finals every other time. So if Jordan played, 13, 15 years.
He played 15.
15. 9 of those years, he didn't get to the finals. So he has 6 first place votes. LeBron James has 4 where he finished in first place. Not 6, right? But LeBron James has about 11 where he finished in second place. And if you want to go get technical, there's third place, got to the conference finals, then there's got to the semifinals. LeBron James has got to more conference finals. Jordan has first place and no second place, no third place, no fourth place. So when you compare it, yeah, he has the more won first places, but you can't discount how many second places LeBron James finished in.
No, I get where you're going with that, and you're totally right. And by the way, I want to pivot back to music, but like my thing is this: I'm telling you, we use that word way too often. People fell off. People talking about Drake fell off. Like, bro, how could a man who dominated a genre in music alone for a decade? How could you dare even use that term to this guy? It's not the right word. Let's not use blanket terms to just freaking refer to everybody.
I hate
that. Ain't the same type of fall off as the next person that you would use that exact same word as. Let's be very clear.
In today's age, it's impossible to fall off. Because music is so accessible. So back in the day, getting on the radio was so important.
Right.
Getting your music videos shown on MTV, getting on 106 in Park and making their countdown was so important. Because if you didn't make those, there's a good chance they didn't listen. Selling CDs was important. Nowadays, with Spotify and Apple Music, anytime I feel like hearing Sean Kingston's music, I'm going to listen to Sean Kingston's music. I don't got to go on 106 in Park and see the music video.
Okay.
If I see that Sean Kingston's featured on somebody's song, I'm going to listen to it. It doesn't hurt me. But you know what hurt me back in the day? It's paying $13 for somebody's album. I may have paid $13 to listen to Drake's first album, but I'm not feeling him this time around. I'm not paying $13. It don't cost you these days to listen to somebody's album.
It's free, technically.
It's free. So it's nearly impossible to quote unquote fall off.
I would say it's hard. I would say it's harder to fall off.
It's nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible.
I don't think it's nearly impossible. I just think it's not as
white and black
whatever
and white.
The way we word this.
No, so is it possible the person stopped making good music? Yes.
Sorry, I would say it's harder to fall.
Is it possible that they don't have as many features? Is it possible their music starts to sound stale to you? Yes, that's possible. So going back to, I just want to wrap this up. I started off by saying like it depends on where Meek Mill's career is whether or not he fell off. So if Meek Mill still thinks in his head, I am a top artist, people should care about me, I would consider that a fall off. But if Meek Mill feels like, I'm more involved with, politics, not necessarily music, what I would call that is Meek Mill had a career pivot.
You're basically talking about expectations.
The person's own expectations.
But also, while that is important, the reality of the situation is you as the artist, expectations is not the only thing that is factored into your whole career. Unfortunately, us as the people, the platforms who even evaluate these people's music, we also have a say, and that's what the artists don't like. We decide someone fell off or not. We're getting the music. We're evaluating it. We hearing the music over time, seeing if the joint is decreasing or not. What you're saying is I think that is the most important part is how the artist feels about what they're producing. But I think it's more of a 50-50 relationship. It's what we feel and it's what the artist feels.
It's the aim, though. It's like Killer Mike, for instance, is a good example. Is Killer Mike. He came out with Michael. I don't think Killer Mike thinks that like he's going to have some serious buzz with this album. He just dropped an album, I think, because he felt like I wanted to get this off my chest. If you guys receive it, so be it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I heard the Killer Mike interview on the Breakfast Club, guys, and he was talking big talk. He said, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is a classic.
I don't think it's a classic.
I'm just letting you know how he was talking. Now we're getting into the artist expectations of their own music.
That's why I said it comes down to if the music is good or not. Tell me right now, America, and you, can somebody drop something that's very good and you still consider them a fall off? They fell off? You can't.
Here's why you can. I feel like in reality, you can drop amazing music continuously for 20 years, but your level, right, of popularity or lack thereof determines for most people how well you're still afloat or if you fell off or not.
That's why popularity is a horrible measurement.
This is how people judge fall off. This is why I have a problem with the word.
I'm telling you,
because this is how they associate.
I know, but I'm telling you, like, I purposefully omitted the word popularity in this convo.
You could argue
about good body of work.
Nowadays, people judge popularity on social media and coverage on blogs and coverage on music platforms, streams, right? So if you don't meet a certain threshold, you could be deemed as someone who's not popular. So if you were once in that bracket and you're still making fire music, but you no longer meet that requirement, people will consider you fell off. Is that right or wrong?
It goes back to where they think they are in their career. Of course, I don't expect if I'm Pitbull, right? Pitbull, who at his highest was probably reaching close to 1 billion streams, right? Pitbull's chilling now. If Pitbull comes out with a song tomorrow and it makes only like 400, 500,000 streams, like, of course, Pitbull is probably thinking, I'm not thinking I'm back in those $1 billion stream days.
Fair, yeah.
Now, if somebody's like, yo, I am back. I'll tell you somebody who's struggling with it. I still wouldn't say they fell off, but Usher. Usher's struggling because I think Usher thinks he can still do some of the things that he did when he was hot, but it's like, it's not hitting. It's not being received the same. I think Usher still thinks he's kind of like a key cog in the R&B game today, but that's just not the case anymore. I still wouldn't call it a fall off, but like, I don't think he's connecting with what reality is. And I think fall off has to do with reality.
If Usher is dropping music in 2023, and which I'm not even aware of.
No knock.
So if the man's still dropping music, it's clearly not going to be received as it once was.
But Usher still thinks he's a pop star.
Speaking of, remember how earlier you talked about pivoting? Usher pivoted in way long ago. Bro, he has a residency in Las Vegas.
I know he did. I know.
He's a legacy act.
He's moving kind of like when he drops singles. I'm just telling you right now. When he drops singles, it still kind of feels like he has the mindset of I'm a pop star.
I think Usher's just a man in general. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a problem with words that have a negative connotation that should never be associated to certain people. We should never be talking about Usher fell off. Certain words and phrases, we shouldn't even be associating these words. We should just simply say they're not who they were. They had their time.
No, see, yes.
They had their time.
But it depends. If
Drake had his time.
If the person's still saying or thinking and moving, like Usher's still saying, thinking and moving as if he's a superstar. Chance the Rapper is still saying, talking, thinking, making moves as if he's still that guy. Chance the Rapper, who, a lot of people are saying they not feeling as much.
It's a great person
right?
to say fell off.
Chance the Rapper, right? Not feeling as much. I bet you today, if Chance the Rapper say he's going to come out with an album, he's going to have a full-blown rollout. Something clever. He's going to have the Twitter emojis associated. The things that you do when you are clearly labeled as a top artist. I don't think he's that anymore.
I have no problem associating the word fell off to Chance the Rapper. You know why? Because he got to the highest of heights in popularity, in commercial success. It was never sustained, and his career is not over. He still exists.
He's not even 30.
He fell off. Meek Mill and some of these other guys did not fall off. They just are not the guy anymore.
They just pivoted.
That's it.
I think they just pivoted. But
you guys let
it's
us
a good
know
combo.
who do you think fell off in the way we're defining it, not in the way.
I mean, we fell off. What the hell? We fell off.
No, we
I wasn't that tight.
We ain't even fell on yet.
Listen to the full episode. Link below.